Hi, this is LV Samsara. I am working as a assistant professor in CSE regular in Koner Lakshmiya University. So today I am giving lecture on software automation testing frameworks, which is comes under into the continuous delivery and DevOps. So before discussion about software and automation testing framework, first of all we know what is meant by continuous delivery in DevOps. Continuous delivery is a DevOps practice that refers to the building, testing and delivering improvements to the software code. Whatever the code, if you want to write, that can be built and testing and delivering. This phase is referred to as the extension of the continuous integration phase. So the main advantage of this continuous delivery phase is whatever the new changes can be released to the customers, it can be quickly in the market. The main advantages of continuous delivery by using DevOps is we are not waiting so much of time. Quickly we can improve the new changes and we can deliver the product to the customer. That is the main advantage of the continuous delivery in the DevOps. So next we can discuss about what is meant by software testing. So software testing is the process of checking the quality of the product and the functionality and how the performance of the software product before launching the product into the market. So we can check each and everything, it is working properly according to the customer requirements or not. That is the main motto of the software testing. So to do software testing, the testers either interact with the software manually or execute test scripts by using the automation. There are two types of software testing we can perform. One is manual testing and the second one is the automation testing. So what is the difference between manual testing versus automation testing? First of all, we know the difference between these two, then we can move to the what are the tools if you want to use for automation testing. So first one is the manual testing. Manual testing means we perform the test step by step without the help of the any tools. In the manual testing we are not using the any tools, only we can perform the step by step test cases with the manually. But in the automation testing, the tests are executed automatically by using the some tools and framework. So comparing with the manual testing, automation testing is faster than the manual testing. Why the automation testing is faster than the manual testing? So actually manual testing, we can write the test cases manually and we can execute the test cases manually. So we have low accuracy due to the higher possibility of the human errors. There is a chance for getting the errors in the manual testing due to some human errors. But in the automation testing we have the high accuracy because it is computer based testing. We can eliminating the more errors by using the computer based testing comparing with the manual testing. And one more is manual testing needs more time for the large scale projects, but the automation testing will take the less time comparing with the manual testing. So next one is what are the different types of manual testings we have. So we have black box testing, white box testing and gray box testing. So what is meant by black box testing and what is meant by white box testing and what is meant by gray box testing? So black box testing is a type of software testing in which the functionality of the software is not known. because here the testing is done without the internal knowledge of the product. We don't have any knowledge on the internal knowledge of the product. So just we can check the functionality of the application. It is called as a functional testing. Mainly in this black box testing, we can focus on the software external attributes and external behavior of the application. So mainly we can concentrate the functionality of the application. For example, if you are taking the login page, so the customer will give some requirements. So based on that requirements, we can check the application. In the login page, we have the username, password, and click on OK, we can go to the next page. Then just we can enter the username, password, and click on OK, it will go to the next page or not. We can check that functionality. That is called as a black box testing. So next one is white box testing. So white box testing is also called as glass box testing. So in this white box testing, mainly we concentrate on the internal knowledge of the product. So that means what is the logic flow, what are the architectures if you want to implement in the source code. So mainly we can concentrate on the internal knowledge of the application. This is mainly done by the developer's point of view. Next one is gray box testing. Gray box testing is the combination of the black box and white box testing. So the gray box testing involves what are the inputs and outputs of the program for the testing purpose. But the test design is tested by using the information about the code. So these are all the different types of testings we have. And next comes under into the black box testing. We have again different types of testing: functional testing and non-functional testing. Functional testing means we can check the application, all the modules are working properly or not. In that functional testing, again we have unit testing, integration testing, and system testing. So unit testing means each and every module. For example, if you are taking our project, in the project there are so many modules are there. So we can check each and every module, we can test the each and every module, it is working according to the requirements or not. That is called as a unit testing. Next one is integration testing. Integration testing means after completion of the unit testing, we can combine all the modules. After combining all the modules, again we can perform the testing. We can combine the modules in the proper way or not. Those are integrated in the proper way or not, we can test. That is called as a integration testing. Next one is system testing. So after completion of all the integration, the system can be work according to the requirements. That is called as a system testing. Next one is again in the black box testing, we have the non-functional testing. Non-functional means we cannot concentrate on the development, that is not concentrate on the modules. Here we can concentrate on the performance of the system. That is why we are having different types of testing: performance testing, usability testing, and compatibility testing. Those are comes under into the non-functional testing. Again in the performance testing, we have load testing, stress testing, stability testing, like that we have the different types of testing. So next one is what is the difference between traditional versus agile testing. So traditional testing means this is the predictive model with a step-by-step phases approach. But in the agile testing, it is the adaptive model with iterative approach. That means we can move from one phase to the another phase immediately in the agile testing. And in the traditional testing, we can produce the final system with all the required features. But in the agile testing, we can produce working versions of the final system, not the all the requirements in the agile testing. Only we can give the versions of the system based on that requirements. And in the traditional system, we can have unit testing for each module, followed by integration and system testing, because this is the step by step process. That's why first we can perform the unit testing, after that we can perform the integration and system testing. But in the agile testing, continuous testing and regression testing across all the iterations, and no feedback until test is completed in the traditional testing. But in the agile testing, at the end of the every sprint, short ongoing feedback cycles are produced. Actually, in the agile testing, we can divide the application into number of sprints. Sprint is nothing but a small task, and it can be completed within the short span of time. So at the end of every sprint, we can give the feedback. If there is any modifications, immediately we can add those modifications and we can implement those modifications in the next sprint. But in the traditional system, modifications are implemented in the next release only. These are all the some of the differences between the traditional testing and agile testing. So next one is, what are the advantages of the agile testing? So the main advantage of agile testing is we can reduce the risk. So because why we can reduce the risks in the agile testing is, here we can we can divide the whole work into number of sprints. So each and every sprint we can give the feedback. If there is any modifications required, immediately we can implement those modifications. That's why you can reduce the risks in the agile testing, and it is very faster time to market. We can release the application into the market in the very faster time comparing with the traditional testing. And we can product testing as a method. It is easy to adopt for evaluating the requirements, and we can improve the quality of the products in the agile testing. So that's why nowadays all the companies, they can follow the agile process only. What are the advantages of using the agile with the DevOps testing? The main advantage is cohesion of teams, and it is very easy to scalable, and we can improve the quality of the product, and we can follow the continuous integration and testing. Every time you can perform the testing, and again we can give it to the delivery, and again we can integrate those requirement, and again we can perform the testing, and finally we can have the process the automation. These are all some of the advantages of the agile with DevOps testing. So next we can know the difference between what is meant by cohesion and what is meant by coupling. These two are important in the real time. What is meant by cohesion and what is meant by coupling? Cohesion means it is the relationship within the module, but coupling means it is the indication of the relationship between the modules. The main difference between cohesion and coupling is, cohesion is relationship within the module. Coupling means we can maintain the relationship between the modules. So in this cohesion, it will relative functional strength, but in the coupling shows the relative independence among the modules. That means the one module cannot be fully dependent on the another module. We can maintain the independence among the modules. And cohesion is the component focus on the single thing, but in the coupling it is connected to the other modules. So it will be maintain focus on the multiple things. And cohesion is the intra-module concept. That means we can maintain the relationship within the module. So that's why cohesion is the intra-module concept and coupling is the inter-module concept. These are all some of the differences between the cohesion versus coupling. Next, What are the testing levels and approaches, and what are the tools? So there are different types of approaches we can follow. There are what is the static testing versus dynamic testing, what are the different types of works approaches, what are the exploratory approaches we are using in the software testing engineer. So next one is what are the popular testing techniques. Nowadays in the market we are having so many popular testing techniques: smoke testing and sanity testing, regression testing, alpha testing, beta testing, and usability testing, and security, continuous testing, and functional testing, non-functional testing. Like that we have, there are different types of popular testing techniques. Based on our project requirement, what type of testing techniques if you want to implement in our project, we can perform those types of testing in the application. So next one is automation testing framework. So what is meant by, what is the framework of automation testing? First of all, we know what is the test automation framework. So test automation frameworks are a set of rules and corresponding tools that are used for building the test cases. So the main aim of the framework is we can define a set of rules and corresponding tools for implementing those rules that are used for building the test cases. What are the functions that can be designed by the engineer to help for that functions we can work more efficiently? That is the framework of automation testing. What are the different types of frameworks here? TestNG, Selenium, Jenkins, these are all the different types of automation testing framework. So a framework is used to write the test cases, and a continuous integration software will run these test cases automatically. Once we can write those test cases, and we can using these automation testing tool, and we can give those test cases into that particular tool, automatically it will run those test cases and it will give the output. That is the advantage of the automation testing. Next, what are the different types of frameworks we have? Linear scripting framework, hybrid testing, keyword driven testing framework, data driven testing framework, modular testing framework, behavior driven framework. These are all the different types of testing framework. What are the popular testing tools we have? There are different tools in the market. SOAPI is one of the open source web service testing application, and robot framework is a keyword driven test automation framework. R specification is a domain specific testing tool. So, and eggplant is the functional, is a black box GUI test automation tool. So based on our project requirement, we can use that particular tool. For example, if you want to perform the domain specific testing, we can use the R specific. If you want to use the black box testing, then we can use the eggplant. And Mocha is the JavaScript test framework, and Jasmine is an open source testing framework for JavaScript. For example, if you want to test the JavaScript, by using JavaScript, if you want to perform the testing, we are using the Jasmine. So like that, we are using the different types of software testing tools in the market. Based on our requirement, we can use different types of testing tools.